Hey folks, Dave Neal here, host of the Rush Hour podcast. We have updates regarding the Epstein Coverup. Pretty crazy stuff going on now as folks are actually calling for a special prosecutor to release the information. And this isn't just anybody. This is Steve Bannon. You know, he's a very large voice in the MAGA community, and here he is not accepting the status quo. Have a listen.
The only solution for Epstein right now, and you had Dershowitz in our cold open, who happens to be Epstein's lawyer and says there is a list. There's only one solution, and I'll throw it out to my colleagues in Berquam and Jane when we get back. You must appoint a special prosecutor immediately. That special prosecutor, right?
Who wants a special prosecutor on Epstein?
You have
Somebody who wants a special prosecutor, you know what, on Epstein. Can somebody turn that into like a EDM song? That's a club hit. Drop that beat. So either way, this is so fascinating because we have Alan Dershowitz. He went on the Sean Spicer show just several weeks ago and said that the information's there. Now, he's been accused of being on the list. Think what you want about Alan Dershowitz. He's always sort of defended, being the lawyer for Alan, to say, look, the lawyer's job is to rigorously defend your client. I'm okay with that. I want to live in a world where bad people have to go through the court system, whether it's terrorists or Trump or Epstein or Luigi Mangione. Everybody should get a fair shot of a trial. That's the world we live in. And of course, Epstein never got that. He was offed in prison. But here's what Alan Dershowitz has to say about the possibility or likelihood of there being more to the Epstein story.
Alan Dershowitz was on this show a few weeks ago.
I have seen, remember, I was accused falsely on the Epstein, and ultimately I was completely cleared. The woman admitted that she may have mistook me for somebody else and withdrew all of her lawsuits. And so from day one, from the day I was accused, I said I want every document out because I knew every document would prove I was innocent. So let me tell you, I know for a fact documents are being suppressed, and they're being suppressed to protect individuals. I know the names of the individuals. I know why they're being suppressed. I know who's suppressing them, but I'm bound by confidentiality.
Oh, BS. Dershowitz, come on. You're getting up there in age. Just tell us. Be an American hero.
Steve Cortez, do you believe that that there's a list out there?
Oh, I certainly think there is. And listen, I think Alan Dershowitz has a lot of credibility, by the way, on this issue. And he's a Democrat. I wouldn't agree with him on a lot of partisan issues. But when it comes to law, I think he's very sound. The fact that he was personally accused and sued and vigorously defended himself and was ultimately exonerated, that he had not participated in any illegal or even immoral behavior at all, I think gives him a lot of credibility on this. And so when he tells us that, look, information is being suppressed, I take him seriously.
You go back to what happened at the White House several months ago when a number of these influencers showed up receiving binders. And I think there's a lot of people, again, to Steve's point, that still feel like they're in the dark on this, that we're not getting the full truth.
Alan Dershowitz was on.
So people want the truth. As I've said before, this whole idea, like, don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. There are folks that flipped from being, traditional Democrats and voted for Trump, one of which I believe is Andrew Schultz. They're considered to be like a MAGA curious podcast, which I don't think gives credit to what they are. I think a lot of people did not like the options of Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump. And you can blame those around Joe Biden who kept him and propped him up for a second term when initially he wasn't going to run. Now, there are plenty of folks like me who appreciate the democratic socialist message, the message of Bernie Sanders, and realize that the DNC colluded with Hillary Clinton to oust Bernie when he was gaining momentum. And then the following election, they did the same when he was gaining momentum against Joe Biden. And at what point are we going to realize the corporate structure doesn't have our best interest? Well, we can watch in real time as Andrew Schultz realized this. We covered this yesterday, but real quick, I wanted to share this with you again before we get into why it's so important to restructure our mind from everyone being just Democrat versus just Republican. There are good ideas within the Democratic Party that are being suppressed. I think there's plenty of people that went from Bernie to Trump. And I think, as we see right here, we have a case study where folks will go back from Trump to Bernie.
Mm-hmm. The only party right now that to me seems America first is the Democrat Socialist Party.
Yep.
Bernie is America first. Mamdani and all his ideas.
All right, so, but here's the idea, right? They always said, vote blue no matter who. That was the idea. And then when Mamdani wins the Democratic primary in New York, you've got all these corporate Democrats that are saying, well, I don't think we should nominate Mamdani, blah, blah, blah. Whatever happened to vote blue no matter who? They only said that when it was the blue kind of version of what they wanted. But there's a lot of people in the Democratic Party, along with the Republican Party, that take money from groups that do not have our best interest. Here we have a clip from Bernie Sanders' Instagram, which explains just that.
It's not just about Israel. You can't just get a pass on this because, and this is what drove me nuts about the reaction to kind of the uncommitted movement, right? It was like an inconvenience. Why are these people inconveniencing us by caring about what's happening in Gaza? They're not going to believe you on healthcare and other things if they think you're full of shit on this. And that's what I think people have to realize.
The idea being, what he's talking about is how much money Democratic leaders take from AIPAC, which is an organization funded through Israel that goes to super PAC money. So you've got people like Hakeem Jeffries who took $1.7 million. There's people that have taken other millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And normally we have laws that foreign governments can't just pay politicians. What the hell's that all about? So Bernie posts this. This is from former Obama advisor Ben Rhodes. Given the illegal and immoral war being waged against the Palestinian people by Netanyahu, no Democrat should accept money from AIPAC, an organization that also helped deliver the presidency to Donald Trump. That's what's complicated. AIPAC donates to Democrats and they donate to Republicans. How are we supposed to believe our elected leaders when they're receiving money from outside sources? This is why I think we should only vote moving forward for candidates that take zero money. We need to know our candidates, the people that are supposed to represent us, aren't bought and paid for. And we don't see almost anyone out there that is that way. Of course, Donald Trump is bought and paid for. You had Elon Musk spend hundreds of millions of dollars. How did that work out, Elon? You've got Miriam Adelson, an Israeli-American citizen, donating hundreds of millions of dollars to him. And of course, they donated to both sides. And no one's willing to speak up against the war. And if you can't look at what's happening to all of the innocent lives and not speak up and know that politicians aren't saying anything, doesn't it make you wonder, how they're not going to have our best interest with other things in life? We're going to spin over into the ICE conversation. But yeah, lots of interesting things happening. And the only way that the Democrats can lure people back from the MAGA movement is if they put an American first agenda together, one that really helps the working class. Here's an update of people fighting back with these real archaic, scary ICE raids.
A new showdown over the Trump administration's crackdown on immigration. ICE agents raided 2 farms yesterday near Los Angeles, and at one of them, workers were lined up against a wall. Neighbors and others came out to protest. ICE agents used smoke canisters and what appeared to be tear gas on the crowd.
Angry protesters clashed with mass federal agents Thursday during an immigration raid at a cannabis farm north of Los Angeles.
And by the way, it was there's people on the phone crying after their mothers were basically disappeared. So you can see here, border agents confronted by protesters during immigration raid at a farm. The next clip I'm going to share with you looks like it's out of a dystopian post-apocalyptic world. It is the military preparing to use chemical weapons on its people.
Boy, this is the point. Please make your path, or chemical munitions will be deployed.
They're saying, please make a path or chemical munitions will be deployed, that being tear gas and whatnot. So their claim is that emergency vehicles have to get through. But clearly, come on. Are they really sending emergency vehicles, or are they terrorizing people that are on a farm working? Remember what everyone said. We just want the immigrants to come here the right way. Do it the right way. Don't mooch off of the system. These are people doing back-breaking labor. In most cases, paying taxes into a system that they're not going to get any benefits for. So it's just absolutely horrifying. Here's a surgical center staff demanding to see an arrest warrant and ID as an ICE agent tried to detain a landscaper. So there they are. So this is, these are medical professionals saying, get your hands off of him. You don't even have a warrant. Now, ICE then claims that they were being assaulted, that the medical professionals were assaulting ICE, and that's their way of then arresting people. And they're telling them to get out. And I mean, look, like you love to see, imagine a world where everybody protested this crazy masked Gestapo coming in and rounding people up. Here we have Gavin Newsom talking to the creator of the Tennessee Holler about removing masks from the ICE agents.
There's a bill by Jack Johnson and Speaker Sexton to punish elected officials who name ICE agents. Marsha Blackburn has a bill at the federal level, 5 years in prison if you name an ICE agent. On the flip side, Justin Jones has a bill to ban masks and require identification. Is that something you guys could do?
Well, we've got a bill pending the legislature. It was introduced months ago on masking.
The masks part is just outrageous.
It's insane. Now, look, I'm sensitive as a former mayor, as an executive, this notion of safety. In certain circumstances, when you have a warrant, you present an ID, there's issues around safety of officers and where it may be appropriate. But now it's universal masking. Poor National Guard were out there.
I mean, it's wild. And you don't even know who's coming after you. They don't say they're the military. They don't say that they're ICE or Border Patrol. In some cases, they're not even wearing uniforms. One guy was like dressed in jorts and Crocs. Like, what are they doing? So it doesn't mean, just because you're protesting ICE doesn't mean there doesn't have to be a conversation around immigration, right? We live in a country that has provided a lot of riches to a lot of people. There's a lot of opportunity here. A lot of people want to come in, and you can't let everyone in. That's just a fact you have to talk about, right? But here's the reel that says, what happened to the GOP, the Republican Party from the 80s, right here, April 4th, 1980. I'm going to play this clip about, it was a debate with George H.W. Bush and Ronald Reagan on immigration. Listen to how the tone involved compassion. Now it's, they're rapists, they're coming for your jobs, they're going to this, fear. But the truth is, we need to elevate our conscience to a level of love where we can have a conversation around, putting money into an immigration system that ethically deals with all of the issues, not just sending people to a worm-infested swamp where they await a trial in front of some military bro who is just appointed as a judge, deputized as a judge who has no idea what the hell he's doing.
Children of illegal aliens should be allowed to attend Texas public schools free, or do you think that their parents should pay for their education?
Who are you addressing that to?
I think you're first in this.
He was looking right at you. I said he was. Look, I'd like to see something done about the illegal alien problem that would be so sensitive and so understanding about labor needs and human needs that problem wouldn't come up. But today, if those people are here, I would reluctantly say I think they would get whatever it is that they're, what the society is giving to their neighbors. But the problem has to be solved. The problem has to be solved because as we have kind of made illegal some kinds of labor that I'd like to see legal, we're doing two things. We're creating a whole society of really honorable, decent, family-loving people that are in violation of the law, and secondly, we're exacerbating relations with Mexico.
So there you have it, right? This idea that by criminalizing some of the migrant work that's going on and by making it illegal, you're then putting a society together where you're punishing people who are just trying to live a better life. Commenter said, this is what the Republicans used to be when empathy was still a consideration. So it doesn't mean you open the borders and you just let everybody in. It means we need smarter people that are less fear-based, that have better solutions. And if you're the Democratic Party, that's not going to come when you're taking money from foreign sources or outside corporate groups. It's going to come when we start speaking for Americans. Let's live up to the ideals we really wish this country would strive for. That being a place where you can live that American dream. Let's stop, letting corporations and private finance, private equity groups buy all of our homes up. Let's live in a world where we go back to really elevating that middle class. The only way to do that is by taxing the ultra wealthy and kind of creating a better social safety net for people that are just trying to thrive. I think most people would agree on that. And And yet that's not what's being provided. So short of a revolution, we'll continue talking about this. Podcasters, MAGA adjacent folks are starting to see the light. Epstein's cover-up might be the thing that blew the doors wide open. All right, I got a video coming to you tomorrow, so make sure you're subscribed. I'll have some weekend content for you. Otherwise, I like to end my Friday episodes really encouraging people to leave work with those 2 middle fingers up and tell your boss to go fuck themselves. But today's a little bit special, right? So today we want to tell ICE to go fuck themselves. Take those masks and go fuck yourself. All right, that's it from me. We'll be back. Have a good weekend, everybody. Do something I wouldn't do and then some. I'm Dave, and this is The Rush.